Welcome to the IELTS workshop. Can you all hear me clearly? If you do, please write yes in the chat. Amazing. Thank you, Ibrahim. Okay. So I understand that most of you came here for different reasons. Some of you just want to develop their general English skills. Some of you just want to refresh on their knowledge. Some of you want to actually take the IELTS course. In this workshop, we're going to focus more on the tips and techniques on how to improve your performance in the IELTS test. And through that, maybe you get to practice your language skills and listening, reading, and writing, because these tips and techniques can be applicable in all sorts of exams, entrance exams for universities, high school exams, any language exam that you might take in the future, because these are just like general tricks and how to avoid losing marks in these exams. So a little bit about myself for those who don't know me. I hold a Bachelor's of Education from Bahrain Teachers College at the University of Bahrain. I also have a Master's in Applied Linguistics from the University of Sheffield with distinction. I have worked in several places. I've worked in the Ministry of Education, the University of Bahrain, AMA University, Applied Science University, Origin Training Center, Seed Training Center. I've recently started my own center, and it's called iLearn Academy. So what are we going to do in this workshop? First, we're going to have a little bit of an activity to introduce yourselves, just to feel like we are a part of a community. I feel like everybody's trapped in their own house, and it will be good to meet new people and, you know, just get yourself out there. And then we're going to talk about IELTS and its importance. And then we're going to talk about the difference between IELTS and another exam that can get you accepted at universities. And then we're going to talk about the structure of the exam. And then we're going to take each part of the exam and we're going to discuss it separately. And we're going to talk about the tips and techniques that could help us achieve better in that part. At the end, I'm going to share with you some resources and links. I've prepared a virtual room with all of the resources that you're going to need. So like, for example, mock exams, previous exams, and some books and booklets that could help you, you know, like study for the exam. But for the time being, I'm not going to share it with you today. I'm going to share it with you tomorrow, just to help you take in all the information that we discussed today. At the end, we're going to have a short session of questions and answers. Is everybody clear? If I'm talking very fast or if something is not clear, just let me know. So just put a thumbs up if everything is clear in the chat. Okay, so we have Ibrahim, Yasser, who are with us, and Abdurrahman as well. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so this activity is what we're going to do now. I'm going to paste a link for you in the chat, and I want you to visit it. Can you see my screen of the Padlet? Okay, so here you're going to go at the square with the plus sign, and you're going to add a post. You're going to write your name in the title. For example, Iman. I'm sorry. Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen? Brilliant. Okay, so to show you again, you're going to go to this sign here, plus sign at the end with the pink circle, and you're going to add a post, and you're going to write here your name. You're going to write a little bit about yourself. For example, I am a teacher. I love pets. I like reading books. And then you can put a picture that represents you, or you want to take a picture just to help us get to know you. You can choose any picture from your device. Let's see this picture. For some reason, my laptop is very slow. You can choose any picture that you want that represents you, and you can just paste it. Okay, and it will help us know each other a bit more. Okay, thank you, Ibrahim. Yes, nice. Okay, what about the others? Yeah, sure. This is the link. Can you see the link now? Okay, so just go to the circle, the pink circle at the bottom, and then just post something about yourself. You can upload a picture as well. We have Zahra, Ibrahim, Mariam, we need pictures, guys. I want to see you. Or just put, for example, a picture that represents you. If an ocean represents you, you can put a picture of an ocean. Hussein, you're into martial arts. Well done. Sheikha, we want more information about you. Mariam, you like writing poems. Rayana, you just go to this circle and you just add a post, and then you can write in the posts. Yes, there is an employee. We have a graphic designer. Cool. Mariam put a picture of darkness. Raqaya, you're a graphic designer. You can put any kind of picture. It doesn't need to be about your picture. Just any picture that represents you. Mm. Jinan, try to introduce yourself. This is the new normal, guys, so we need to adapt. Sabah, you're a nurse. Come on, guys. Rayan is a law graduate. I'm preparing a legal English course. You'll find interesting, maybe. Jinan, you like writing stories. That's interesting. Zahra, wow, I love your picture. You're an engineer. What about the rest, guys? Try to just write about yourself. Ibrahim, you did it. I think I saw yours. Yeah, you did it. You wrote, I love traveling. I like watching football and Arabic drama. Yep. Cool. Okay. Oh, that's a beautiful picture. Can you write your name? Yasser, you're an employee in EWA and a student in AMA. Interesting. So we have different people from different fields, and it's very interesting. Hajar, you are an English language trainer. Excellent. Oh, I love birds as well. Okay, what about the rest? Do you want to share something about you? We have a picture of a flower for Rawan, law graduate and a photographer. It's a very interesting combination. Someone loves football. It's interesting. Okay, guys. So it's really nice to get to know you, even if it's not the normal way that we are introducing ourselves in, but it can compensate for that. Because we don't have much time, we're going to stop with this activity now. You can go and access this link again and write more about yourself, or maybe if you want just to have a look at the other people who wrote about themselves. Okay, so what actually is the IELTS? The IELTS stands for International English Language Testing System, and it's currently the most widely accepted English exam across the world, including the Middle East. It tests your ability to understand, read, write, and speak the English language. Other people are trying to take exams like the TOEFL or Lingua Skill, but IELTS have been accepted in most universities and in most working places. So that's why I recommend, if you are unsure about which test to take, it's good to consider the IELTS exam. Okay, so what are the benefits of taking the IELTS? As we said, it's the widely accepted English testing system. If you want to enroll in any university, for example, in UAE, in the UK, or in the US, it surely is accepted in these universities. And if you are required to submit an English test, most English medium universities, even in the Middle East, even in Bahrain, if you want to skip the foundation, you are required to submit the IELTS results. And if you want to continue your education as well, you need to submit the IELTS results. If you want to work abroad, some people are interested to work in the UK, Canada, or the US, you need to submit the IELTS results for the visa requirements. And it is also very great to have on your CV, even if you are a fresh graduate or if you are like just finished high school, if you have it on your CV, it will be very good and it will boost your CV. So let's talk a little bit about two exams. We have the IELTS exam and we have the Lingua Skill exams. I want to talk about these two exams because the IELTS have not been discussed yet to have an online version during this pandemic, while Lingua Skill is an online version of the test. Both are similar in some way, but I would say Lingua Skill is a little bit easier. The IELTS, however, is accepted everywhere for sure, but the Lingua Skill is not, as you can say, it's not very well known and not a lot of universities or workplaces accept it. So if you are unsure about which one to take, first contact the university or the workplace that you are going to apply for and just inquire about this. Do you accept the Lingua Skill? If they say yes, then you can go ahead and take the Lingua Skill. If they persist on taking the IELTS, maybe you can check with them after 2 months. Maybe the British Council will be applying social distancing in the form of taking the test. So let's have a look at the formats of the IELTS. The IELTS test is divided in 4 sections. First is the listening exam, and then you have the reading exam, and then the writing exam. Sometimes the speaking exam is on the other day, for example, before the exam or after the exam, and sometimes it is on the same day. If it is on the same day, it's going to take very long for you to wait for your turn, because there are examiners who are sitting in front of you and asking you questions, interviewing you and asking you to deliver a speech. So imagine that you will have to wait for all the people who are taking the test to finish and then maybe do the speech. So if you could ask the British Council to have it on another day, I think that would be best. So how is the IELTS exam graded? The score is an average of a score of each component. So we said we have 4 components of the exam, and there are 9 bands in every component, and then they will take the average of that. The lowest you could score is 0, and the highest you could score is 9. Let's have a look at the description of the band. If you take into consideration band 9, it means you are mostly like a native speaker. Okay, someone is saying there are academic and general. I recommend that you take the academic IELTS precisely because the academic IELTS is more accepted in all kind of fields. If you take the general, it's more towards working places only. If you take the academic test, you can use it for universities, you can use it for work, you can use it for everything. So I suggest that you go for the academic IELTS. That's better. Okay, so let's look at the bands here. If you score 9, it means you are a native speaker, like close to a native speaker. If you want to study abroad, you are going to need something between 6.5 and 7. If you are enrolling in a bachelor degree in Bahrain or in other countries, I think 5.5 to 6 is enough. So always aim for a 5 band or higher, because that's what's going to count as a strong foundation to demonstrate your ability of using the language. So first we're going to talk about the listening exam. The listening is the first part of the IELTS exam. It's lasts for 30 minutes and it's the easiest component to score in. I would suggest that if you put a little bit of effort in learning the techniques, you can easily get 7.5 or above. So studying for the listening exam is very crucial. It includes 4 sections and there are 10 questions in each section. It will last for 30 minutes, but after the 30 minutes, they will give you 10 minutes to transfer your answers into the answer sheets. So you will have 2 booklets, one for writing the answers and one for the questions itself, but they are going to take the answer sheets only. So let's have a look at the sections in the listening exam. The first section is a conversation between 2 speakers. For example, a conversation about travel arrangements or a decision, and you have to fill in with the missing information. The second section is a monologue conversation. For example, it's a speech about student services or university campus, and you have to fill in with the information that you need. The third section is a conversation between up to 4 people, and you have to decide what is the missing information and fill it in your paper. The fourth section is the final part, and it's a monologue, and it is a lectural talk for general academic interest, such as university lecture. I think the most difficult one is the fourth section, because generally in the IELTS exam, the difficulty increases as you move towards the other section. So prepare for more mental focusing on the following sections. This is how the listening answer sheets looks. So first you have to write in the booklets with the questions that you have, and then they give you 10 minutes at the end to transfer your answers in this listening answer sheets. Is everything clear now? Is everyone following? Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Okay, so let's have a look at some tips that will help us achieve better in the listening exam. We have to answer every question. Sometimes you are going to miss some information. You're not going to listen clearly to some of the words. Some native speakers swallow some of the letters and it may feel like it's not very clear. So try to answer all the questions with anything that you find logical. You have to check your spelling and grammar, because sometimes you think that you wrote the answer, but if it is spelled wrongly, then you are going to lose marks. You have to train your ear to separate words. If you're listening to radio or TV, try to separate the words in your brain so that when you are engaging in the listening exercise, you know that these words come separately and you will be able to write the answers more properly. You can write in the margins what you understood and the important details that you heard. Sometimes when we are listening, we don't know exactly where to put each information. So it's very helpful if you hear something and you think that it's very important, write it on the side. Maybe you will need it next time. Because in the listening test, you are only going to hear it once. You are going to hear the recording only one time. These information can include spelled words, dictated numbers, dates, places, because these are the kind of information that we look for in finding answers. If you completely skipped a question, choose the most logical answer. Sometimes the answer is very logical and predicted. If you leave it, then you lose marks for sure. But if you just make up an answer, maybe you are going to get it right. Don't get distracted by different accents and age groups. I remember the first time I took the IELTS test, I got a child. She was like 10 years old, and she was speaking in a very strong tone, and it was very difficult to find the answers. And I was thinking to myself, why are they bringing a child to, in the listening exam? But it's actually a technique to trick you. So pay attention to that, and regardless of the age group, if they bring someone old or they're bringing someone young, focus on the information that you're listening to so that you can perform well in the exam. Draw a line below the last question. When the recording is playing, they are going to tell you this recording is for questions 1 to 5. So when you know that these recording is just for these questions, draw a line under question 5 so that you don't get distracted with the other questions. Read and follow the instructions carefully. Sometimes they are going to ask you to write 3 words or 2 words only. So if you write more than that, you're going to lose marks. Don't get distracted by different accents and age group, like we said. And don't leave nothing for later. Sometimes you think to yourself, oh, I'm going to come back to solve this later. If you leave that, maybe you risk leaving it empty and you forget to solve it. So try to solve everything as you move towards the following questions. Sometimes they are going to trick you with synonyms. They're going to tell you, for example, I have to study for the exam. And then in the question, it says must. So have to has the same meaning as must. So don't get confused with these synonyms. I think if you watch TV in English, you will get familiarized with the accents and the structure, the intonation of different accents, and it will help you achieve better in the listening exam. So sometimes in the listening exam, they will tell you, I walked into a bookshop and I bought nothing at all. But as I was walking outside of the shop, I saw an interesting book about, for example, cooking recipes, and I bought it. If you just put the answer in the beginning, you will write, he did not buy any books at all. So remember to listen until the end before choosing your answer. So any words that can include, for example, no exceptions. All these can cause confusion, and it may be predicted that there is something else going on after that. I want you to go and point your arrows on the top of the screen, and you will see a tool called Annotate. Can you find it? If you found it, just write yes in the chat. What about the rest? Noura, just take your mouse and point it on the top of the screen, and you will see this tool. If you go to the top, you will find a tool that's shaped as a pen. Yeah, okay, so we're going to use it for a little bit now. Yes, it can help you write something. Okay, so now we're going to have some listening practice. This is taken from the listening exam.
Is copyright. IELTS Help Now Listening Practice Tests. Test 1. In the IELTS test, you hear some recordings. You have to answer questions on them.
Were you able to hear the recording now?
You have time to read the instructions and questions and check your work. All recordings are played only once. Now turn to Section 1. Section 1. You will hear a conversation between a man and a woman discussing the loss of a bag on board a plane. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
Guys, can you hear the recording?
Yes, we hear.
Brilliant, okay. So they're going to have a conversation about a lost property, and it's going to be for questions 1 to 5, okay? I want you to take the annotate pen, and I want you to underline what kind of information are we looking for in these questions. For example, for question 1, I need an address, right? So here, what do I expect? I expect a number. Okay, what about postcode? I'm going to underline postcode. And what is it going to be? Is it going to be a name? Yes, a number as well. Okay. What about question number 3? I'm going to underline mobile telephone number. And here I need also a number. Right? Number 4 is a flight number. It could be a letter and it could be a number, right? So maybe it will be, for example, EF266, right? When you're traveling and you see your boarding pass, it says B611, for example. So it could be a letter and a number. And it's the same for seat and number. And then I'm going to draw a line under all these questions because these are the questions that I need to answer. Number 1, an address. Number 2, a postcode number. Number 3, a mobile number. And then I need a flight number for 4, and then a seat number for 5. Okay? So if you have your notebook next to you, I want you to listen and write down the answers. So it's giving you time now to read the questions.
You will see that there is an example. This time only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Pan Asian Airways, John speaking. Can I help you?
Yes, please. I left something on one of your planes last night. I got this number from the operator. Is this the right number to call?
Yes, madam. This is the right number. I just need you to tell me your name to start with so I can fill out a lost property form.
Kirsty Allen. That's Kirstyallen.
So, Kirsty is the correct answer. Now we begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, as the recording is not played twice. Listen carefully to the conversation and answer questions 1 to 5.
Pan Asian Airways, John speaking. Can I help you?
Yes, please. I left something on one of your planes last night. I got this number from the operator. Is this the right number to call?
Yes, madam. This is the right number. I just need you to tell me your name to start with so I can fill out a lost property form.
Kirsty Allen. That's Kirstyallen.
Right, I've got that. Now, what happened last night?
Well, I was on a flight last night from New York to London that landed at 12:30 a.m. We were delayed a while in New York, so that when we eventually landed, I was so tired that I accidentally left my handbag on the plane.
Did you report this to anyone last night?
No, I'm afraid not. I didn't notice until I got home, and then it was really too late to phone.
Very well, madam. Let me take a few details for this form, and I'll see what I can do. OK, so the name is Kirsty Allen. And what's the address, please?
48 Wyndham Road, Richmond.
The postcode?
R16GH7.
Good, I've got that. Now, your telephone number?
Well, my home number is 020-8927-7651. And my mobile is 07754-897-432.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the second one. What was the mobile again?
07754-897-432.
Thanks. Now, do you know the flight number of the plane you were on last night?
Oh yes, hang on a second. I've got my boarding pass stub right here. The flight number was PA356. No, I'm sorry, PA365. That's it, 365.
And does the boarding card stub say what seats you had?
Oh yes, it was E6.
And you said that it was New York to London Heathrow. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Before the conversation continues...
Okay, guys. How did you feel about it? Was it easy, difficult?
Not that much.
Easy, very good. So I gave you a question in the beginning of the listening exam. As you move towards the last section of the listening exam, it increases in difficulty. So that's why I recommend you go over the mock exams that I'm going to send you to have more practice. Let's have a look at the answers. Who can write the first answer? Number 1. We can write it in the chat. Okay, number 2. Number 3. Okay, and we have number 4 and 5. Okay, let's have a look at the answers. Okay, so the first is 48, R16, GH7. Did you get it right? Some of you did. And then the phone number, and here. Some of you wrote BA. So this is a confusion that most Arabic people get confused with, because we have only the sound B, and we get confused with P and B. So you need to pay attention to this, because you could lose the whole mark if you wrote B instead of P, okay? So as you can see, she got confused a little bit when she was saying number 4, and then she fixed it. If you've written the first answer, then you're going to lose marks with that, okay? So far, so good. Before we take a break, I want you to take the annotate mark and circle how you are feeling right now. Take the annotate and circle how you are feeling. Yep, I was thinking. Good. Okay, nobody's tired. That's good so far. A lot of hearts. That's good. I bet the cool emojis are the ones who got the answers all correctly. Okay, guys. So we're going to stop for 5 minutes. You can go and grab yourself a cup of coffee, and then we're going to come back and discuss the second part of the exam. Okay, so 5 minutes. We're going to start, let's say, 53. Okay. So hello everyone, is everyone back? Just write yes in the chat if you are back. Okay, brilliant. So let's have a look at the reading exam. Okay, so it lasts for 60 minutes and it consists of 3 sections. It includes 40 questions and it has 1 mark for each question. I think the most tricky part of the IELTS exam, I think what people find difficult is the reading. So you really need to practice your ability to skim rather than reading word to word. And that's the most important thing. And instead of reading the whole article, you are wasting your time. So try to skim for the information that you need and then go back to the reading passage to find the answers. Before we continue, I want to show you the structure of the exam, the listening and the reading. So let's have a look. Okay, so this is the listening exam. This is what we just did together. And then you have another kind of listening exam, which is like multiple choice. You are listening and you have to answer. In this case, you have to underline the keywords. Remember what we did here by underlining the address and writing, for example, we need a number. In this case, what items did Christie's bag contain? The keyword is items, right? We are looking for items. So when you're listening, you know that you are looking for an item. And here is the second part of the listening. As I told you, you are listening to some kind of a monologue speech and you have to fill in with the information. And then a conversation with between 3 to 4 people and you have to fill in with the information. And here it's something kind of like a lecture and you have to fill in with the missing information as well. So this is how the listening exam looks like. So in the reading, it's going to be easy, a little bit difficult, very difficult. So I would suggest that you share, that you focus your time on the last reading and just spend about 20 minutes for the first reading passage because it's going to be the easiest. Let's have a look at some tips. And instead of reading the whole passage, you should look out for the title, the headings, any special features that will help you know that the information that you're looking for is in that paragraph. Make sure that you understand the questions and follow instructions carefully. I suggest that you skim the passage very quickly, go and read the questions very carefully, and then come back and find the answers from the passage. Pay attention to timing. I think the most difficult part in the reading is the timing. If you had more time, you would be able to perform better in the reading, but because we don't have enough time, that's why we make mistakes. Do not spend too long on one passage or question. Do not try and read every word. If you go to a passage and you read every word precisely, then you're going to lose all of the time that you have. You really need to skim the passages and just focus on the questions themselves and then go back to find the answers from the passage. If you do not know the answer to a question, attempt it, but do not waste time. Move quickly on to the next one. Remember in the listening, we said we have to write anything. Here, just move on to the next one. Put an arrow or something that will help you come back to it. The most important thing is that you do not waste your time. Do not panic if you do not know anything about the subject of the text. All the answers can be found in the text. Sometimes they're going to bring you a passage about something that you completely don't know anything about. But it's fine because all the answers that you need are in that text, okay? And you can find out the meaning of the words that you don't know from the context. So it's pretty straightforward if you look at it this way. The words that you use must be taken from the reading text. We must not change the words when writing them in the answers because we could lose some marks because of that. Do not worry if there is a word that you do not understand. You may not need to use it. And sometimes, as I said, you can guess the meaning of the word from the context. Again, here, you really need to check your spelling. Sometimes you write the answer correctly, but you misspelled it, and then you will lose marks for that. Be careful about using singular and plural correctly. For example, if the answer is pen and you wrote pens with an S, then you're going to lose marks for that. So you really need to pay attention to that. Focus precisely on what you are asked to do in the completion type questions. Sometimes they're going to give you a question and they are asking you for something very specific. So make sure that you write that specific thing. If the questions ask you to complete the note in the, and then the correct answer is evening, do not repeat in the evening again. If you wrote it again in the, then you're going to lose marks. Pay attention to the word limits. Most questions in the IELTS exam ask for no more than 3 words. If you write 4 words, for example, you said in the top of the table, for example. Here it's more than 3 words, so you're going to lose marks. Attempt all questions. It means try to solve all the questions. There are no penalties for incorrect answers, so you have nothing to lose. If you wrote an incorrect answer, you're not going to be deducted 1 mark. You're just going to get a 0 for that answer. So my advice is to try to answer it with whatever you know. And always, if you have time, check your answers. So if they're going to ask you to fill in a table with information, for example, you need to follow the format that is requested from you. If it's, for example, written in this way, 55%, and if you've written 35, then you're going to lose marks. You have to write it in the same format that is written. Do not write it as just a number and do not spell out percent. You need to follow the exact format that it's mentioned for you. And here's the same way. If it's written first, then you have to write second and third. Do not write it in other formats. As I said, the IELTS exam is more about your understanding of how to put the message across rather than your level of English. If you know these tips and techniques, it can boost your performance and you can achieve better. So let's have a look. Let's pretend that this is a very long passage, okay? And you are going to underline the most important information in that passage so that it's easier for you to come back to it and find the solutions, okay? So using the annotate tool, I want you to underline the important words or the places that you feel like it can have the answers that you need for. Cost of homes, very good. Shenzhen, yes. Fell over. Very good. Okay, let's have a look at the answer. Okay. So we underline the place that we're talking about. And what are we going to talk about in this paragraph? It's the cost of homes. It has risen the fastest, and property agent Kentali. Okay, so these are the things that will help me when I'm reading the questions later on to refer back to this paragraph and find the answers that I'm looking for. As you can see, I only underline the keywords that I found very important. We have to think of it as we are making a map. We cannot read word for word in the reading passage because, as we said, we don't have much time. The first sentence of the paragraph introduces the main idea. As we can see here, it's the main idea, right? The closing sentence summarizes the main idea. Here, it summarizes the main idea, and it also tells us where the information were taken from. We need to underline the main ideas in each paragraph. So if you did this, what you just did with this paragraph to every paragraph, yes, Ibrahim, it will help you when you go and read the questions, find the answers very easier in the paragraphs rather than reading every word of the paragraphs. Let's have another try. Use the annotate tool to underline the keywords. Okay, interesting. Very good. As you can see, it didn't take you very long to find the keywords now, because now you know what you're looking for. And if you do that to every reading passage that comes across your way, then it will be very easy for you to find the answers. Let's have a look at the keywords that has been underlined. The name, week, it's a keyword, most of you underline. Job creation, we're talking about job creation, and it's 5%. Raised employment levels, job creation week. Okay, so if you have a question that talks about and it's asked about the percentage of that, how the job creation has been rising or declining, then you know that the answer is in this paragraph, so you can come back and find the answer. So this is a very easy way to tackle reading passages by just underlining keywords instead of reading the whole passage. And I think it's very important for the IELTS exam. Is everyone clear with the reading part now? If it's clear, just write yes in the, yeah? Good. So after you underline the keywords, you have to go and do something that's called go fishing, because you did not read the whole passage. If you underline just the keywords, you read the questions and then you go fishing in the passage. Read each question one by one and go fishing in your map for the right paragraph. Imagine that you have the whole paragraph and you just underlined all the keywords. After you read the questions, it will be easy for you to spot the answers in the paragraphs. Do not lose war because of one battle. If you found that you did not find the answer for one question, Throughout the process of trying to find the answers for the other questions, maybe you will realize that you found the answer for that question. So don't feel disheartened. Remember to underline the keywords in questions and answers. As you're reading the questions, underline the keywords because it will help you connect the answers with the questions. Okay, so let's move on now to the writing parts. The writing part is where people feel mostly nervous about, but actually if they study well and they take into consideration these tips and techniques, they can perform really well. It consists of 2 parts and it lasts for 60 minutes. Ibrahim, you're asking, it is somehow related to writing academic skills? I don't understand your question. Do you want to keep it to the question and answer session? Okay, we can discuss it with microphones. Okay. So the writing exam section consists of 2, and it lasts for 60 minutes. The first task, it shows you a graph or a chart, and it asks you to report or describe that chart for 150 words. I would say you should spend around 20 minutes on that task. The second task is an essay based on a topic in which you will have to express an opinion. Here, they really want to know what you think about that topic and how good you are in expressing your opinion and your thoughts. And this requires 250 words. So this is how the first task would look like. For example, the graph below shows the way people of some country invested their money during the years 2001 and 2006. Write a report for a university tutor describing the information shown. You should write at least 150 words. So you have to take these data and you have to describe them in 150 words. Another example of task 1. The graph below shows how prices of high-tech gadgets changed over time in some country. Write a report for a university tutor describing the information shown. You should write at least 150 words. If you look at the graphs, in the beginning, you may feel overwhelmed with the information. But if you think about the kind of information that you need to write about, you will find out that it's easier than expected. So what are we going to write first? The first sentence should be about the topic of the chart. For example, Table 1 shows an overview of the bonds invested in some country. Figure 1 compares the bonds to the stocks invested in some country. The pie chart demonstrates the preferences of students in studying in the university. So if you follow this format, you will find that it's very easy to write about the graph. The second thing that you need to mention is you have to highlight the significant data in the table or the chart. If you go back here, what is the most significant information that we can find in the first chart? For me, despite the increase in the year, both the bonds and the stocks are increasing. This is the highlight of the data that I saw. So this is what I'm going to talk about in the beginning. Okay. So what I can say when I'm highlighting the significant data, what stands out in the graph is that both bonds and stocks are increasing in the years 2001-2006. Or another way I can say it is apparent from this graph that both bonds and stocks are increasing in the years 2001, 2006. As you can see, if you know the structure of writing the description, it will be very easy for you to write about it. Can you take a picture of the slide? Because I'm going to ask you to write in a bit. So I want you to have this information. If you took a picture, just write in the chat, yes. Ibrahim, you're asking about the opinion essay, but yes, even in the description, you can include an introduction, body, and conclusion. We are now discussing the introduction part. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so this is what we're going to write in the introduction when describing a graph. Moving to the body. It's a little bit stuck. So let's have a look at how we can write the body of the description. Number 3, we need to talk about other findings, any exceptions, anything unexpected. If we want to talk about something unexpected, we need to use words like surprisingly, unexpectedly, or as expected. If you write the percentage or the numbers very precisely, it will be very unbeneficial to look at your description. You need to translate the percentage into words. Here you are showing your ability of writing rather than just copying the information from the graph, right? So if I have a percentage of 75 to 85%, I can say the large majority of people prefer investing in bonds, for example. If I have something like 50%, I can say half of the participants prefer investing in stocks throughout the years 2001 and 2006, for example. And here you have all the verbs that you could use with these fractions. If I have something like 6%, it's not supposed to be 5% only. If you have something that is very small number, you can say a very small number of the investors or the users or the teachers or whatever you have in the graph prefer or agree or have, and then you continue the sentence. So it is more about you studying the right vocabulary to write with rather than your level of English, if you can see. So again, can you take a picture of this slide because you're going to need it? If you've taken a picture, just write yes in the chat. Good. Okay. I'm going to give you this link and I'll open it for you as well. And it's very useful when you are trying to write a descriptive paragraph about an essay or something. And it's more helpful towards academic writing in general. So let's have a look. Can you see my screen of the website? Okay, wait. Okay, so this is the website. If you go for describing trends, it helps you understand the trends in a graph. The graph shows that there has been a slight fall in the number of divorces in England and Wales since 1981. So this represents if, for example, you have a linear graph and it's like this. So there is a fall in the results. Or you can say steep rise. So a steep rise is like this. It goes up. So if something like that in the graph, you know that you can use these terminologies. A steady decline. So if it's falling, but it's not very sharp, something like this. We can use steady decline. Gradual increase. It's increasing, but it's not very fast. Okay, so if you have a look at this website, you will find that all the information that you need or the vocabulary that you need to use are available here. If you want to highlight a trend in a table or a chart, what is striking, it means what is very surprising in this table or in this graph is the growth of people investing in stocks, for example. If you want to describe high and low points in figures, you can use this kind of vocabulary. If you want to talk about trends, you can use these vocabulary. So I'm going to copy this link and I will paste it in your chat. So you can go ahead and open it because we need it for this exercise. Okay, I'm going to give you less than 15 minutes, okay, to try and write about this graph in the same way that we learned. And we're going to discuss the answers together. Can you see the graph? Okay, brilliant. So remember how to, the slides that I've given you about the introduction and the body, and then the website that I've just pasted in the chat. Use all of that to write a description about this graph. Let's have a look at this question. The graph below shows how prices of high-tech gadgets changed over time in some country. Write a report for a university tutor describing the information shown. You should write at least 150 words, okay? So have a look at the trends, what is very surprising, the most important information, and try to write about it, okay? Is 15 minutes okay, or do you need more time? Okay, so I'll just give you 15 minutes and try to use the vocabulary that you have to write it, and then we're going to discuss it together. 1 minute remaining. If you finished, you can upload your file in the chat so we can have a look. I hope that you took the time to actually write. Okay, that's 15 minutes. It's okay if you didn't finish, don't worry about it. Just show us how far you went. Guys, are you around? Fatma, Hajar. Okay, Hajar. Okay, I'm gonna give you 5 more minutes. And if you finished, you can go and grab yourself a cup of coffee. For those who have finished. Okay, so 5 more minutes. Nora, amazing. Thank you, Ibrahim, for sending this. And Nora, we're waiting for the rest. Hussein, good. Good, Hussein. It means you're improving on your own. Okay, guys, you can post your answers even if you didn't finish. Just post what you've written so far so we can have a little bit of discussion before we move on to the second task of the writing. Looking at the answers that I have here, I think most of you did not stick to the word limit, which is 150 words. Remember that in the exam, you're going to have only 20 minutes to write 150 words. So with practice, the same as we're doing now, you're going to find it easier to write 150 words in the allocated time. Another thing is some of you forgot to introduce the graphs. Hold on. Remember what we said here in the beginning? We need to explicitly say what the graph or the chart that we're talking about shows. So in this case, we will say, for example, figure 1 presents the prices for the tech gadget in the years 2001 to 2004 in these countries, for example. So don't forget that you need to state the topic of the chart. And then you move on to the significance data and then the importance data, and then you can write a summary, okay? So most of you did well in using the vocabulary that we learned, so this is amazing. Just remember that you need to introduce the topic of the charts, okay? Are the rest writing or are they just not sharing? Shall we move on, guys, to the second part? I think you're still busy writing, hopefully. Okay, Rawan, you need to write a little bit more, but you're on the right track. Okay, guys, just leave the writing till later so we can have a little bit of discussion about the model answer. What I'm going to show you now is the model answer for this task. Okay, let's have a look at what they've written. First, they introduce the graph. The graph compares the prices of navigation system and smartphones in some country between July 2004 and December 2006. So this is very important to mention, okay? As it shows clear, although at first navigation systems have been much more expensive, over the years, prices for navigation systems and smartphones became identical, okay? So this is the highlighted data. And then the writer wrote the data that he found most interesting. He linked them with each other and compared them to each other. And then there is a little bit about another highlighted information from the graph. Okay, so bear that in mind when you are writing. Good, Abdurrahman? As I said, we all need to focus on following the words limits. You are doing an amazing job in using the structure and using the vocabulary in the correct way. We just need to follow first with the introduction and then the highlighted information. And then in the body, we mention the most important data. And then at the end is the summary. You just need to increase the word limits that you've used. Okay. Are you guys ready to move on to the second task? If you are, just write yes in the chat. Amazing. Okay. So let's have a look at the second task. The second task is more of an opinion essay. You should spend 40 minutes on it, and you should write at least 250 words, okay? And I think the most important stage in this task is the brainstorming part. They will give you a topic, and you need to write an essay about your opinion in that topic. So the most important thing is that you plan your ideas in a clear way so that you are able to demonstrate it. So let's have a look at this topic. You should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Write about the following topic. Social media is becoming increasingly popular amongst all age groups. However, sharing personal information on social media websites does have risks. Do you think that the advantages of social media outweigh the disadvantages? So here we're going to talk. I need to first understand the topic. We're going to talk about social media, and we're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages. And we need to say whether we think the advantages outweighs the disadvantages. It means it's stronger, it is more necessary, it has more effect than the disadvantages. So to do that, we need to brainstorm our ideas. Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. Sometimes when we are asked about our opinion, we try to refer to some information in books, but actually all we need to know is we need to refer to our own knowledge and our own experience. Think about social media and your own experience, the people around you, your family, your brothers and sisters, the other people in your working place. What are their experiences and what examples can you bring to the table? So let's think about all of this together in a brainstorming activity. we're going to go to a website. I'm going to paste it in the chat and I want you to go on it. Can you see the link in the chat? Okay, amazing. Okay, so now I want you to go to that page. This is what we're going to find. And I want us to brainstorm about the topic together. Okay, so after you click on the link, write your name, last name, and put a password and log in. We're going to talk about social media. So social, okay. You're going to think about the different parts of the essay and you're going to add your thoughts to that part, okay? Let's have a look. Are you able to join the link? Amazing. Okay. So I'm going to press on about social media introduction. For example, I'm going to say, nowadays, social media is widely spread between teenagers and adults. And I'm going to add it. And then I'm going to add it in the introduction, okay? So each one of you, think about what you want to write. In the paragraph number 1, you can talk about the advantages. In paragraph number 2, more advantages. In paragraph number 3, about disadvantages. And then in the conclusion, what do you want to write? Remember that our topic is social media, and we need to talk about the advantages and disadvantages, okay? So let's brainstorm together and think of what ideas we have when it comes to social media. Okay, so there is no wrong or right answer, just put in your ideas there. You can add an idea using the circle here, add. Here in this circle, the green one, add. Are you able to use it? Guys, if you did not write your name when you clicked on the link, you will not be able to see add. Okay, brilliant. Someone is writing. Excellent. In the introduction, we can say social media is playing an important role. What about the advantages? I can write so this is about the advantages. I'm going to put it with blue and I'm going to put it here, paragraph 1. So intercultural Connection, we can write it in the paragraph 1 because it's the advantages, okay? The thesis statements say, for example, the most important point that you're going to discuss in this essay. Some people believe that social media has a lot of disadvantages, but the advantages outweighs the disadvantages, for example. Okay, guys, what can we write in the conclusion? Social media is important things in the world and the time. Here, this is advantages. Excellent. Human interaction. What about the disadvantages? What can you write in the disadvantages part? Yes. Think about the disadvantages of social media. Very good. Very good. More disadvantages, guys. Give example of social media applications. Very good. Influence human lives. Influences human lives. Here we can elaborate more on it when we're talking about the advantages and disadvantages. Very good. Bullying, yes. Can you put it in paragraph number 3 about the disadvantages? Bullying in paragraph number 3. It is harmful for the eye for young children. Very good. This is paragraph number 3. Paragraph number 3. Kids. Identity theft, yes. This is disadvantages. What about the advantages, guys? We're always talking about disadvantages. What do you think the advantages of social media is? Someone could say it helps teenagers express themselves better, maybe. Where did it go? Yep. So I'm gonna take it to the advantages. Okay. Marketing opportunity. Very good. Okay. What about in the conclusion? What can we write in the conclusion? We can write our personal opinion. We can write a summary. We can also give recommendations. Okay. But as you can see here, we mentioned different ideas and different advantages and disadvantages. What I would stress on is talking about examples for these advantages or disadvantages that we talked about. For example, when we're talking about identity theft, you can say a story about something that happened. For example, these influencers, sometimes they get their pictures stolen, and some people pretend that they are them, and they cause a lot of problems for them. So after each advantage or disadvantage that you talk about, it's very important that we mention examples from our own experience or our own knowledge. Okay? Okay, stop sharing. Okay, so as you can see, guys, that's the most important part of the writing of the second task is brainstorming and bringing the ideas. If you have strong ideas, it will help you write the essay in a better way. Some people write their essay in very perfect English, but if you look at it, there are no strong ideas in it. So I suggest that you spend the first 5 minutes of the essay time to generate ideas related to the topic, and it will help you write the essay in a better way. So at first, 250 words may seem like a lot of words, but if you break it down to the parts that we just seen, introduction, paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and conclusion, we can see that we have a lot of things to say in each part of the essay, right? And each of these paragraphs has to include at least 2 ideas. As you can see that we came up with a lot of ideas just by brainstorming for a few minutes. So try to mention at least 2 to 3 ideas and make them very strong, because the stronger your ideas are, the stronger the arguments, the better you're going to achieve in the exam. If you mention an idea, it's very good to support the idea with examples or more explanation. If you're talking, for example, about let's say marketing tools. For example, you can talk about the small businesses that we have on Instagram and how people, even though they don't have an actual shop, they can market their projects or they can market their services through social media. So further explain on the ideas to get the message across to the reader. Okay, is this clear, guys? Do you want a break, or shall we continue with the speaking part? Break or no? No. Okay. Okay, let's continue so we can finish early. The speaking part consists of 3 parts. First, something like an interview. So the examiner sits in front of you, asks you different questions related to your life. Easy questions, okay? And then you are asked to give a speech. They give you 1 minute to think about a topic, and then you have to deliver a speech of 2 minutes. And then at the end, you have a discussion, kind of like conversation, where they ask you a little bit challenging questions and you have to defend your argument. So I know that some of you don't want to open their cam, but I think we should consider turning on the microphone for the exercise after this. So prepare yourself. So let's have a little bit of tips before regarding the speaking exam. Speak without long pauses. A lot of us, when we are nervous in kind of like exam, we take very long pauses, and that takes away from our marks. Try to say something like, let me have a think, or can you repeat the question? So try to say something that will give you more time to think about what you want to say. Understand what the examiner asks you and confirm that by answering accordingly. As human beings in our everyday interaction, we listen to respond, and sometimes we don't care about what we listen, we just want to talk. in the IELTS exam, it's very important that you listen to the question and answer exactly what the examiner is asking you to talk about, because you're going to lose a lot of marks because it's going to give the indication that you did not understand the question. Demonstrate how many smart words you know. Some people go to the exam and they have amazing knowledge of vocabulary, but they don't use it in the exam, and that's why they lose a lot of marks. Try to use all the words or the smart words that you know. Try to mix it up. Don't talk about the present simple only or the past. Try to mix the tenses that you know, but if you know them correctly. And you need to pronounce the words correctly. If you don't know how to pronounce a certain word, don't say it or don't use it. Try to use the words that you know how to pronounce. And this is a very important point that I want to talk about. Accent has nothing to do with pronunciation, so it will not affect your score. Okay, some people think that because they have an accent, they will have a lower score in the IELTS, but actually the IELTS exam does not evaluate your accent. As long as you speak in a neutral way and you pronounce the words correctly, you use the grammar accurately, then you're not going to lose marks. Okay, let's have a go at the interview part. Who is the brave one? I want someone to try with me. I'm going to ask you questions and you have to answer. Hussein, come on, Hussein. Can you open your camera and mic, please?
I'm afraid I won't be able to turn on my camera, but I'll do with the mic.
Okay.
That's
the first question, where do you come from?
I come from a small island in the Middle East called Bahrain. Small
Okay.
in size, big at heart.
Amazing. So what Hussein here did, he did not just say Bahrain, he continued on the sentence and did not just give me a short answer. So well done on that. What is your home like?
My home is like your average Bahraini, you know, household. We're a nuclear family. I have 4 siblings, and yep.
Okay, so if you look at this question again, asking what is your home like? So we are talking about your physical house. What does it look like? And the features, the bedrooms, the living rooms. So here's what I'm saying about understanding the questions properly, okay? But you kind of answered half of the question, which is good. The next question, what do you like or dislike about your home?
My noisy neighbors, really.
Okay.
What I like most about my home is how accessible it is from the main road, and all the services are right next to it.
Okay, amazing. Thank you, Hussein. We need someone else who is brave. Someone else? Ibrahim. Okay, Hajar. Hajar, yes. Can you switch on your mic?
Okay, do you hear me clear?
Yes. Okay. Can you tell me about your family?
Okay, so I come from a big family actually. I have 5 brothers and 1 sister. And I can say that most of my siblings are either engineers or future engineers. I'm the only one who is like out of the family. Can I say that? And yeah.
Very good. Tell me about your job.
My job. So I've been working as an English language trainer for almost like, I think, yeah, 7 months. Yeah, and I've resigned. But it was a lovely, it was a lovely experience actually. I learned a lot in the educational industry. So yeah.
Okay. Is there anything you dislike about your job?
Okay.
It's a safe environment here.
Well, one thing I like is actually Hussein Al-Madi is my colleague. So yeah, what I dislike, maybe waking up early. I'm not a morning person, so yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you, Hajar. We need someone who is brave as well. Ibrahim, do you want to come? Fatma, yes? Can you open? Hi, Fatma.
Yeah. Hello.
What are your plans for the future?
I'm planning to finish my master's degree. I'm currently an intern doctor. So I'm planning, yes. So I'm planning to finish as a pediatrician, hopefully. My secondary plan is go for as a family doctor. But hopefully within 5 years or so, I'll be somewhere of a resident doctor. Yes.
Okay, amazing. What type of transport do you use most?
When I was back in China, I used to go with public transports, but unfortunately here in Bahrain and currently in Riyadh, we don't really use public transport much, which I really prefer. So mostly I go by car.
Okay, good. Do you like reading?
Reading, aside from my medical books, I don't have a lot of time. But back when I was in secondary school, yes, I used to read a lot because it's gives you a lot of background knowledge about everything.
Good. What do you most like to read?
My readings were normally either religious or just stories. Um, I'd go for Agatha Christie. I like her books.
Nice. Okay, thank you, Fatma. Okay, guys. So most of you did really well in the interview part. Let's have a look at the next part. Okay, this is what most people think is the tricky part of the speaking, but if you think about it, it's pretty straightforward. So they're going to give you 1 minute and they're going to give you a topic, for example, just this topic. And you have 1 minute to think about this topic and you have to talk for 2 minutes, okay? So let's have a look at this example. Talk about the best time in your life. You should say, when was it? What did you do? Where did you live then? Why was that time the best for you? And then the examiner is going to put a stopwatch and he's going to count for 1 minute. And then he's going to tell you to stop. And then you have to talk for 2 minutes. So who is the brave one? Who wants to give it a shot? You don't have to open the camera. Nobody will know you. Just with the mic. I recommend Sheikha. Sheikha, are you there? Okay, brilliant. Okay, so Sheikha, you have now 1 minute. Okay, and let's choose someone else to prepare with you. Who wants to go for the second topic? Hussein? Because you were brave. You went the first one. Do you want to give it a go? Okay, Hussein. So Hussein, you're going to prepare for, you can choose. Sheikha, you can choose. Hussein and Sheikha, you can choose which one you want. Hussein, which one do you want? Okay, good. So Hussein, you're going to talk about the first one. Sheikha? Good. Okay, so number 3. So I'm going to count for 1 minute and you have to prepare for your speech and you have to talk for 2 minutes after I tell you to stop. Those who are not talking with us, take the time to prepare for your speech and pretend that you're going to talk with us, okay? So Hussein and Sheikha, the time is starting. Prepare for your speech. You can write your notes in a notebook. Yes, change it. Okay, time's up. Hussein, do you want to go? You have to talk for 2 minutes now. I'm going to put the stopwatch. Are you ready, Hussein? Hussein? Okay, go. You can start. No, we cannot hear you.
Hello.
Yes, now we can hear you, okay? I just pressed on the stopwatch, so you can start now, Hussein.
All right. So about the best time in my life. The best time would be somewhere in December of 2017, where I went to the Netherlands with a friend of mine in the cold days of December. We went there to study the art of Dutch kickboxing. We stayed there for about a month, traveling from gym, not traveling, but basically moving from one gym to the other, meeting different coaches and different fighters from different backgrounds, different countries, different fighting styles and fighting philosophies. It was definitely a memorable time where we not only experienced a lot of fight experience, but also some personal growth as individuals when we got to interact and live with these people. Allowed us, to explore a deeper sense to the martial art community and how fighters live and interact with each other, dealing with injuries, diet plans, weight cuts, sports psychology, and everything, and all the tight community they have with each other. So being able to live that lifestyle, it truly was, an experience of a lifetime, I would say, and it was one of the best moments and time periods of my life. 2 minutes yet? Keep talking. Khalas.
Well, you reached 1 minute and a half, which is good. I think the ideal time should be 1 minute and 40 seconds the least. So well done.
I can go more, but okay.
Go, go, go. You can
Um,
talk more about where did you live there. You can talk about the
we lived in Boston Lomer Plain, which is a really small neighborhood. We stayed next to a butcher shop, and we basically had the privilege of eating steak every single morning.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay, you reached 2 minutes now. Well done. Okay. Very good job. If you perform like that, Hussein, you're gonna get a really high band.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
Sheikha?
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah. I'm going to start the stopwatch now. You can start.
All right. A recent conversation I had, it's not that recent though, but it just came to my head. Recently I joined like a group, they talk about like different kind of subjects. So I remember that day we were talking about the effect of the family on kids or adults even, how they basically affect the relationship that we have with other people. And I remember because I read a book, it's called Attachments, like type of attachments with other people. I kind of had an idea about it. So at the beginning, like when the family, they are really loving and they're there to their kids, it's develop an attachment style called secure. Um, Basically the person would be secure with everyone. They would have like basically a loving relationship, and they won't be anxious, they won't be afraid to avoid their feelings. But if the family were not there, uh, not necessarily physically but emotionally as well, to their kids, it would develop some sort of anxiety to deal with people. So they would develop an anxious um, type, where they would be feeling anxious towards people. They would have a problem communicating maybe, or even for example in any kind of relationship, either it's like marriage, friendship, they would always feel anxious about it, like something is going to happen now, something is going to ruin it.
Yeah.
And yeah, the last style, which is the avoidant one, it's basically when the family are not emotionally, not physically there. So they would develop an avoidance style. They would avoid their feelings. They would not be sure that, like, they would not feel safe towards feeling with other people. So yeah. Am I done?
You are done. You are over 2 minutes. But I have just one comment. You did really well. You demonstrated a lot of smart words. You used different tenses, but you did not answer the last question, why it was important to you. It's important when you're delivering a speech, you have to talk about all of the questions that they've given you. So that's something important to
Yeah,
you.
I did not notice it. Basically, it's important to me because it taught me a lot how to deal with other people in relationships and any type of relationship. So it actually gave me a lot of, let's say, I don't know, like enlightenment, I would say.
Well done. Okay, brilliant. Good job. I'm so proud of you guys. Okay, we have a chance for 2 more. Who wants to go? Any brave ones out there? Hajar. Hajar, yes. And Hajar, which topic do you want? Course or... Oh, actually, why is it repetitive here? I just noticed. The third one, the course. Okay. I'm going to count for 1 minute, Hajar, and then you can talk for 2 minutes. The stopwatch is counting now for 1 minute. You can plan your speech. Okay, 1 minute. Hajar, are you ready to start?
Hopefully, yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So we're going to talk about what kind of course would you like to take. If you had the time, you should say what would you learn in this course and why would you choose it, okay? I'm counting now. You can start.
Okay, so the course I'm thinking of taking actually is a management course. I would start with why would I choose this? Because this is why I actually resigned from my work, because I want to help my brother in running his company. I want to be part of his management team. So I would like to take this course to learn how to run the company, how to take care of the employees, and how to actually to deal with them, because I'm a bit quick-tempered person. So how to deal with the employees without getting angry on the simplest things. That's a huge thing I want to learn. And yeah, to help my brother basically, and to build the company. It's fairly new, so I would love to be in his management team as part of like a family business, to run the family business. And you'll never find someone who would care about your company than your family. So yeah, that's why.
You are at 1:13. You should talk more.
Oh, I usually talk more, but I don't know.
Okay, it's a good attempt. Thank you, Hajar.
Thank
So
you.
you can talk about the aspects that you know already about this course, or where you want to learn it. Is it an online course? Is it a short one? Is it a long one? So I'm just giving you ideas about things that you could talk about, okay?
Okay.
So well done, guys. I think you are on the right track with writing, reading, and listening, and speaking. So this is our questions and answer sessions now. If you have any questions, please feel free to either open the mic and ask me, or if you want, you can just write it in the chat and we can discuss it. And this is, I just put a link in the chat. It's a survey about the course. It will help us develop our courses, especially we are going through a pandemic and we're always trying different things in these online courses. So if you could finish that survey, that would be helpful. And if you want, you can open the mic now and we can have your questions answered. Any questions? So everything was clear?
From my side, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I don't have a question really. I just wanted to thank you, and this was a really enjoyable opportunity to take this course.
You're welcome. Thank you, Sheikha. Any questions?
Hi. I have a kind of a weird question, maybe.
Yeah.
But what if I fail like in one of the 4 categories and pass all the others? Will I failed or passed?
So the thing about IELTS is you're not going to fail. There are different components. So listening, reading, writing, and speaking, right? And you will get different bands in each one. And then they're going to calculate the median of all of these components and give you the final score. As I explained in the beginning, can you see my screen, the slides?
Yes.
I will show you the bands again. Here. Yes. Can you see the bands?
Yeah.
So if you, for example, studying for a master's degree, you are required to have 6.5. So for example, say you got 6 in listening, 5.5 in the reading, and for example 7.5 in the writing and 8 in the speaking. They're going to calculate the median, and for example you will get 6.5, which is what you are wanting for your higher education. So in this case you got what you needed. You know what I mean? So you have
Yes.
to actually look at the requirements of the university, and your band should be equal to that. But there is no pass or fail. It's just like where you are placed in these bands.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for this awesome opportunity. You're a really good teacher.
Thank you, Fatma. I have a question from Noura. In writing part 2, what is enthusis? Should be a separate paragraph, and thanks for this course. It was excellent. Noura, I did not understand your question. What do you mean? Can you paraphrase it? Ibrahim, yes, you can write suggestions. You're welcome, Rowan. The thesis statement, Noura, you mean. The thesis statement is the whole idea of the essay. For example, what are you trying to say in this whole essay? You can say this essay talks about the advantages and disadvantages of social media. For example, in one sentence, you can summarize everything in your essay. You can Google it. It's called thesis statements. Okay, welcome. Sure, Ibrahim. It's just with online learning, we're still trying to learn more techniques on how to make it engaging. Thank you for your feedback, Ibrahim. Any more questions? You're welcome, Ibrahim. Okay, guys, you can still email me if you have any more questions. As I promised you, I'm going to send you more materials and more mock exams to practice with in the coming couple of days. I'm going to put it in a virtual room, so it's very accessible for you to interact with. In the meantime, if you still got a question or you remember a questions, please DM me on Instagram or email me. I'm available all the time, okay? I enjoyed teaching you today, and I hope you found this experience beneficial. And please do let me know if you need help with anything, okay? Have a lovely evening, and I look forward to seeing you in the coming courses. Okay, bye.